Hi, everybody, and welcome to a Facebook Live discussion on the Black Church. This is our story. This is our song, hosted by Henry Louis Gates Jr. I am the series producer and director, Stacey Holman, and
I'm Shayla Harris, one of the co-directors on the series.
And we thank everyone for just logging on, logging in, tuning in to this discussion. I kind of feel like we're taking over our parents' Facebook Live. So I know some of you may be surprised not to see Skip, but you have us instead. So we hope we will not disappoint. And just the top of our discussion, we want to first start with the trailer for the Black Church.
This is our story. This is our song. Praising my Savior. All the day long. All the day long. All the day long.
That is great.
In the name of Jesus today, oh God, we are rising.
The Black Church was more than just a spiritual home. It was the epic center of Black life. Out of it came our Black businesses, our Black educational institutions.
The Black Church gave people a sense of value, belonging, and worthiness. I don't know how we could have survived as a people without it.
To tell the story of American religion is to tell a political story.
The Black Church helped us to withstand all the slings and arrows of segregation and the segregationists.
We're willing to be beaten for democracy.
Freedom!
Who are the five great Black preachers of all time? There's so many.
Prathia Hall.
Renita Weems.
We serve a Jesus who came and turned over the tables.
Jeremiah Wright.
Gardner Taylor.
Gardner Taylor.
Howard Thurman.
I left our oldest Moss.
Presiding Bishop Michael Curry.
Love can be sacrificial.
Did you think that you were going to get one amen out of those Brits? I learned how to see amens in their eyes.
I'ma clap my hands. I'ma sing to the Lord.
Some might argue that the Black Church is the first Black theater.
The role of music in the Black Church is everything.
How do you define gospel music?
Oh, really simple. Gospel music is the sonic presentation that talks about the majesty of Jesus.
Entertainment shouldn't be in the church. What do you think the preacher does? The preacher, and there, and if what? That's entertainment. In that gray, in the morning, fare you well, fare you well.
The African American church is 80 to 90% women, but the leadership is 80 to 90% male.
There's an awful price to pay when you say that you're a same-gender loving person.
If you say you were born this way, then you're saying, God, you're a liar.
We are a testament to the goodness and the grace of God. Everything in the world has tried to kill us, and we're still here.
Culture says you the wrong race. The price says I made your race, and I ain't made no mistake.
It was our balm in Gilead, the place where our people made a way out of no way. It was that place from which our souls could look back and wonder how we got over. We call it the church.
So I hope you enjoyed that sneak peek for the Black Church. This is our story. This is our song, airing tomorrow night. That is Tuesday, the 16th, and Wednesday, the 17th, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Time on PBS. So please tune in, stream in, watch it.
It's so exciting, Stacey, to look back on the trailer and think about our experiences working on the Black Church. What was your experience like with the Black Church before we started this series?
It goes way back to when I was a little kid, growing up in Ohio and in Cleveland. My parents went to a predominantly white church. However, down in Zanesville, Ohio, at Union Baptist Church, that is really what gave me planted the seed and gave me introduction to the Black Church. The singing, the praising, the worshiping, and the community. So growing up that continued to feed into my faith walk, even to today. And being a part of the series was just truly a blessing. So what about you? Because you didn't have a tradition, what most Black folks would say, a traditional experience growing up with the church.
Yeah, no, I grew up actually Catholic in Buffalo, New York. And, you know, if anybody's been to Catholic church, it's not as rockin' as the Black churches that we went to on this film. So it was really exciting for me to come onto this project because I really actually wanted to learn what the Black church experiences was. I mean, like everybody, my first kind of encounter with the Black church experience was probably like learning about the civil rights movement. And so to learn about this like really rich history dating back to the Atlantic slave trade was really, really cool. But you've worked with Dr. Gates before. Was it different working with him on a series like this?
This is my second film. I worked on Reconstruction, and this was more of a personal film. And we both had that personal experience when we went to Piedmont, West Virginia, to his home church. And it really resonated with me that this is someplace or a series that's coming from the heart. He's wanted to do this series for a while. There are certain things that he's like, we want to have this song. I want to, have this person. I want to tell this story. So it was definitely just more personal. And what was your experience? I mean, going to Piedmont, I mean, I know what it was for me. What was it for you?
So the most memorable experience for me, I mean, I really appreciated that one of our goals with the series was to try to go to a range of churches. You know, we went from everything from a one-room praise house that some, enslaved Africans had preached in or practiced their faith in to, a 40,000 seat megachurch in Texas with Bishop Jakes. So there was a whole spectrum of churches that we visited and services that we experienced, but definitely hands down the most moving was going back home with Skip. It was just incredibly emotional to go back to his hometown and see the community that raised him. And, it really sort of symbolizes all the themes that we were exploring in the series.
Yeah. What were some other surprises that you found? Like the Atlantic slave trade, that was a big aha moment. I know for me,
Yeah. So the other big revelation for me was learning, part of our goal was to kind of go back to the beginning, to see the early church and how it developed. And so we went to, the Eastern Seaboard and the Gullah Islands to kind of explore that and to learn that, some of those first Africans who came here, were Catholics, were Muslims, practiced, traditional faiths, and they used that to transform the Christianity that we practiced here. That was totally eye-opening to me. I did not know that.
Yeah. Now that was amazing. And also for me, just the I Have a Dream speech and just the heroines, the female that really just made an imprint in the Black church, who have always been a part of the Black church. So our three, which I think is so cool because we get to interview, was not yet then, but is now, Senator Reverend Warnock. That was really cool. But he tells a story of Reverend Prathia Hall. And I'm going to kind of leave it like that. So I'll leave people in suspense. So they'll just have to tune in on Wednesday night to find out exactly what does he tell us about I Have a Dream speech and Prathia Hall and Reverend Martin Luther King. But that was, there were so many moments like that I was just, it was just an incredible history lesson, and also too a lesson of just what speaks to what's happening today. And I know you've been getting this question, and I think viewers would love to hear just what you feel. What is illuminating the series that speaks to what's happening today?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of relevant questions, like the legacy of preachers who were involved in politics. We know Reverend Warnock today, but his legacy actually stretches back to Reconstruction, which was not something that I knew. And, there is a persistent question about the role of the church in politics, and certainly with the Black Lives Matter movement and the racial reckoning, we sort of explore the role of the church today and how that's evolving and, people's thoughts on that. Can you tell some of the, this audience, like who are some of the cool people that we actually talked to? Because we got to interview like a ton a ton of really fun people.
Just a lot of heavyweights. So we interviewed Oprah. That's a huge heavyweight. Bishop Jakes, Bishop Curry, Bishop Vashti McKenzie, Bishop Yvette Flunder. Oh my gosh, Kelly Douglas.
John Legend.
John Legend. Yolanda Adams, Kirk Franklin, Reverend Barber. I feel like I'm forgetting some people. I mean, that's just the tip of it, but we interviewed it was a who's who. And that's only the tip of it, and that's why I'm really happy Skip is doing a companion book. This is my plug, everybody. Skip is doing a companion book, which lists all the incredible men and women of the clergy. 4 hours, as we both know, was not enough time to tell the story, which is still an ongoing story. It's not complete. The Black Church has been around for 400 years and will continue to be. What was one of your, who are you most awed by in terms of the people we've interviewed?
Yeah, I think I was really awed by, we talked to a lot of scholars, and what I thought was really special about this series is that a lot of them spoke really personally about their faith. They kind of got outside of just their Ivy Tower, thoughts on stuff. And I thought that was really refreshing, and I think something the audience will take away, something really incredible. I also really loved that we threaded music throughout the series. Every episode features some of the new evolutions that we learn about in the music that came out of the church. And so one of my favorite moments was we went to the Gullah Islands and got to hang out with these singers, all of whom are over, I don't even know, they're ageless, but they were singing these spirituals and they just came alive. And it was just really incredible to be in that space, in the room, to hear these songs that have been sung for hundreds of years. And just that evolution is just like a testament to what's so incredible about the Black Church. There's
a funny story, but I want you to tell that story, because that was actually, this is a lesson of do not judge a book by its cover. Just say that.
That's true. So we had invited these Gullah singers and we'd heard a lot about them, but when they showed up on set, they were very soft-spoken, really quiet. So we're like, I don't know, is this going to be interesting and dynamic? And so one of the ones who really did not say a word, and as soon as the cameras turned on, she came alive, and the sound that came out of her mouth was shocking and incredible and amazing. And we were all just kind of blown away. So we definitely are like, whoa, I did not expect that moment. And so that was really, really fun. And I hope that our audience really enjoys that moment as much as we did.
Yeah. Yeah. The singing was incredible. One of my favorite moments was the jam session between Dwight Andrews and Patrice Turner and Skip. We could have been there for hours, and we were there for hours. It was like, okay, play this song. And that was a delight. That was just, that was ministry for me. It was great. And in Church of Deliverance, that was a beautiful, experience as well. And incredible church. Oh, go ahead.
Totally. Well, I'm sure a lot of people want to know, how did we come up with the title? Because the title is also a reference to some of the music that we explored in the series.
Yeah, well, the title was a little bit of an argument or debate, however you look at it, between me and Skip. I wanted to use How I Got Over, which is sung by Mahalia Jackson, and also Aretha Franklin sings it as well. So two heavyweights, we can use that title.
It's obvious.
It's obvious. Yeah. Hello. And Skip wanted to do Blessed Assurance. This is our story. This is our song. And we went back and forth on it, And who helped break that was a deciding factor in breaking this debate or picking the title was Oprah. So Skip informed her of what title do you like the best? And we were on the road, and I remember it very clearly. He's listening to his messages. He hears, sees a message from Oprah, hits play, and we hear her singing, "This is our story. This is our song." So Hence the title that we have now.
Speaks, everybody listens.
Exactly. So for those who know Oprah, they can very easily call her to, make the deciding factor. But for those who can't, I guess we'll just can't.
So a lot in our people in our audience are asking who Skip is. Can you let them all in on a little secret?
So I'm really bad at doing this because I just go straight into like the short terminology. So Skip is Henry Louis Gates Jr. We've worked with him, so we've kind of gotten that permission to call him Skip. So we go between Skip, Professor Gates, Dr. Gates. So we'll pretty much be saying Skip most of the time of this live chat. So that is who Skip is. Go ahead.
One of the other things for, our audience to know is that, obviously Dr. Gates is one of the most preeminent scholars who has done a lot of work for PBS and other entities on African American history. But the great thing about this series is that we got to spend a lot of time with Skip. And this was actually because, as Stacey said, this is one of the most personal series for him. And so it was really great to be able to talk about a serious story, but also infuse his warmth and his fun energy and his spirit into the series.
Yeah, and it definitely resonates. I mean, I think, and that's why it's such a personal story. And I think just anyone's faith walk is very personal. And like you said before, how we asked everybody about their experience, really, I think resonates throughout and really will connect people to the story.
Well, one question I'm sure a lot of people have is, if they aren't somebody of faith or if they aren't of the Black church, is this a film for them what would they take away necessarily from a series like this?
I mean, I think any story that you're talking about African Americans is American history. Let's just face it. We say it's the Black church, but the Black church is not just the Black church. The Black church is not monolithic. I feel like it's a history lesson in terms of religion and how religion has been used and abused throughout history. It's understanding the power dynamics of the church and how it's been used and also abused. So I feel it's a story that resonates across Black, white, brown, all demographics. And I think it's something everyone can find something to connect to. I think even just looking at the events of this year, just pick something and people are going to need some kind of hope. People are going to need some kind of encouragement. Some people are going to need some kind of release or some kind of understanding of why we are where we are. I don't know. What do you feel, Shayla?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, as someone who isn't of the Black church in that sort of definition, and I think people can get thrown by, the Black church when you say that sounds really specific, but I think the themes that we explore are so universal about hope and healing and faith and resilience. And as you said, particularly emerging from the year that we've had, not just with the pandemic, where a lot of people have experienced a lot of loss and grief and isolation, certainly. I think a film like this is really an opportunity to kind of bring people together, whether it's, basically virtually, but it's kind of like what church does, it brings communities together and gives people the energy to carry on. And so I think it couldn't be coming at a better time,
Yeah, no, very, very true. And I think one thing I want to, and I know we both want to do this and we can split this, is just give a shout out to just the incredible team. I mean, to do 400 years in 4 hours, you don't do it by yourself. We had some incredible advisors that were rereading our scripts.
Think some more.
Exactly. We had incredible co-producers, Chinesha Scott, Eric Tillman. We had incredible editors. Give shout out to my editors, Adriana, hour one, which is like the hardest hour of any series to do. Such a gift working with her. Also with Ed. I know you want to shout out your people.
Yeah, the two incredible editors that I worked with are Jason Pollard, who's brilliant and talented and also really fun. And for the final hour, which is also a lot of pressure to bring, land the plane of this series, Sandra really brought her skills and her experience and really just brought it home to a really moving end. And, I don't think we could even remotely have done any of this without our archival team, because there's no way to visualize, 400 years of history, much less before cameras, without their incredible work. So Christine Fall, Megan, Caroline, their whole team that really dug into every corner of every church to get, photos and illustrations and all that stuff to really make this really sing. And we also had a really incredible composer who just interwoven with all the music, just made this a really beautiful, beautiful series.
Yeah, Matt, Matt was great, because we would be like, okay, Matt, can you do this? Sure. Okay. Sure. Okay. Oh, sure. Okay. And then he would come back and we're like, okay, great. We also had Barry Cole as our music supervisor, who helped navigate. I mean, there's a lot of songs, folks. There's a lot of church songs.
Yeah. And
just a lot to weed through for that. And then we have our post team, Veronica, Catherine, and Rena, and we can go on and on, these people that kept us honest, and our crew, everyone who filmed.
Yes.
It was a whirlwind. We had, where were we should name the places that we took Skip. It was a whirlwind.
We took him on the road, and we went everywhere from the Eastern Seaboard in South Carolina and Georgia, the Gullah Islands there. We went to Atlanta, we went to Texas, we went to Chicago, we went to LA. I think the question is, where didn't we go? We covered it all. Boston, New York, we covered it all. I'm sure maybe some folks are mad that we didn't get to come there with Skip, but the great thing about this series right now is that everybody can still do their companion screening parties with their churches and have conversations about all the stuff that we're talking about in the series. So that I think will be really fun when the series comes out, for sure.
Yeah. And a shout out to PBS, because the outreach that they've been doing, I don't know if people on this live chat are aware of just the, there's going to be a Bible study guide. There is going to be a children's coloring book. We have a Bible or verse or a scripture and a word. I think I'm getting it wrong, but we have John Legend. We have Erica Campbell, Tasha Cobbs, and Fred Hammond, who are singing just beautifully, just giving them a word, and they just riff off that and they sing. So there's just a lot of just incredible things, and a companion CD that they're actually going to be. Yeah, it's a lot. Everyone's going to church. I think everyone's going to church.
Yeah, all of those activities, for those who are interested, are going to be available on pbs.org/Black Church if you want to tap in. So there's something for all ages, all shapes, sizes, something for everyone. That's the great thing about being on a station like PBS.
Yeah. And also they're doing a cookbook. And I think that's one thing. They're doing a little dish and dash. So there's a dish, 3 dishes that people can make. So you can watch this film and you can eat. You could also eat, because everything is connected to the Black church. Your spirituality, your stomach, education, everything surrounds the Black church.
Mind, your heart, your stomach, all of it. We're coming for all of them.
They want it all. They want it all. So, Shayla, what is, just finally, how are you feeling on the eve of the series? We wrapped really in January of last year. We finished our last interview with Reverend Shirley Caesar, Pastor Shirley Caesar. And then we did a little bit more editing, and then we shut down. But, we've been sitting on this for a long time. How are you feeling?
I feel incredibly proud of all of us. We did it. We did this incredible thing that, it seems like, justice delayed because it didn't come out for some time after we finished, but it's kind of like it's coming out at the exact right time that it should. It's kind of like divine intervention that kind of delayed the release of this. But I feel so proud to be working on something that's not just an incredible history, but it's also meaningful and beautiful and celebratory, but also critical and asking and provocative and asking a lot of questions. So I think we did it. I think we really did. I'm really proud of everyone who put, not just their time and energy, but their like blood, sweat, and tears, because there's a lot of that too. How do you feel? You were the series producer. How do you feel about landing this plane and this baby being out in the world now?
I feel just a peace. I feel a peace and a joy, and just echo everything that you said. It's and it's almost surreal. It's just kind of like, it's quiet, and all of a sudden it's like boom, it just drops. And it's an honor and a gift and a blessing to tell this story. And I don't take it lightly. You're talking about stories of faith. It's always going to stir up something in people, and I'm just very honored that Skip, Henry Louis Gates, and Dylan McGee and the whole McGee team just really entrusted and believed in what I wanted to do and how I wanted to nurture this baby. So yeah, and my joke is like, every time, I don't know, I think I said this with you during the series, I'd be like, okay, God, this is your story. Like, you need to help us. Like, like anytime there was something crazy, I was like, oh my gosh, Lord, help us. So
many times on our knees praying.
Oh yes.
To schedules to open up, planes to land.
Yes. Weather to be good, just everything. So, and it worked out. So I'm pleased. And it was just a joy working with you, Shayla. I mean, it was just working in tandem, and it was fun. It was just so much fun. So, and we get to work together again. So this is great.
Yeah, no, this has been really awesome. It's been a really great team. I'm so proud of it. I don't know if you have any favorite, I know it's hard to pick a favorite, but do you have any favorite songs or moments of songs that are in the series that people can be on the lookout for?
I love the two versions of I'm a Soldier. That the way it's used in two different ways is just like, is tapping my foot like all the time. And it's, that was one of them. So, and there's a lot of more, but that's the first one that came to mind. What about you?
Yeah, it's hard to pick one. God, it's really hard to pick one. But yeah, I will steal one that our archive person picked, but it's a beautiful rendition of Balm in Gilead, which is like an old hymn, but it's sung by Jesse Norman, who has the most incredible voice. And it's just piercing when she sings it. And the moment that she's talking about is also a really important moment in the Black church and how we talk about it. So that to me is really like wrenching. And then of course, Skip singing, "Oh, I believe."
Well, go back home.
So I won't ruin that. For the folks, but maybe we should give people one last look at the series. Just another little clip to tease them and get them excited about the Black church. This is our story. This is our song.
Over time, schools in church basements would evolve into historically Black colleges and universities, like Spelman and Morehouse in Atlanta, Fisk in Nashville, and Tuskegee in Alabama. These schools sought to educate leaders, and that education often started in the pulpit.
The vast majorities of HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, were founded to be seminaries and divinity schools, training grounds for ministers and teachers. These schools understood themselves to be doing the work of God.
So that was a second sneak peek at the Black church. This is our story. This is our song. And thank you all so much for joining Stacey and I to go on our trip down memory lane and just relive some of the really great memories and stories about the Black church. Do you have any other final thoughts, Stacey, before we close this?
One thing people have asked us is, what do we want people to take away? We've kind of talked about that. And one thing I do hope is just that hope that people will get some kind of inspiration and hope wherever they're going through, whatever they're experiencing as they watch the series, because, you don't last 400 years. You really just don't last 400 years without some kind of hope. And I feel like this series speaks to life and to us.
Yeah. That's amazing. I couldn't have said it better myself. That was awesome. This is why she's our series producer. Well, thank you all for watching. I'm just going to remind you that you can watch The Black Church. This is our story. This is our song. Premiering tomorrow night, Tuesday, February 16th, on PBS at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the second episode will be on Wednesday, February 17th, also at 9. And for those of you who'd rather read than watch, you can also check out the companion book written by Dr. Henry Louis Gates, aka Skip. That's available at your local booksellers. Thank you all for tuning in, and we really hope you enjoy the series. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.